Hello everyone, I'm Psychotic, and that's also my screen name. We are back with episode 3 of our Medieval Dynasty, season 2 run through. Today we're going to continue along through summer of year 1. We're going to be trying to get the cabbage field up and going before the end of the season, and hopefully be able to hire somebody to finally get some logs for us. We're also going to continue making the production buildings, and try to ease ourselves into the other buildings that we need for production, the kitchen, the tailor, etc. So those are our plans for today. If you learn anything useful or if you have a good time, please don't be afraid to drop a like. If you're feeling friendly, maybe go ahead and subscribe. But either way, let's go ahead and load into our game. Alrighty, so here we are right where we left off last time. Let's see, we've got some meat and some other things. Oh, right. One of the first things that we need to do today is go and get our meat out of our house and put it into the food storage for when we recruit the new person. That's going to be super important. Whoop, and our trap set off. We may have to lay a new trap. So let's go ahead and doop, doop, and doop. You know what? We're going to put that trap over by the food storage. We're not going to leave it out here. Let's take the copper axe. We're going to need that. The firewood can probably go in storage. That can go in storage. Those can go in storage. And that needs to go in, oh my god, why? Alright, well, it's going to be a hell of a trek. Okay, this is a bit much. If we drop you, and let's drop like half of the roasted meat and we'll come back for it. Because I think making 2 trips is still going to be faster than making 1 trip as overburdened as we are. Yeah, we are moving more than twice as fast. So that is definitely true. But I want to get this food in there before we recruit anybody so that we don't have them immediately getting unhappy. Now our big problem is honestly going to be water. We need to build a well, and I was thinking right there in front of everything, because once we get the kitchen up, it looks like we don't have the kitchen placed yet, but once we get the kitchen up, it's going to be right here, because I want it right next to the food storage. So if we put the well like right here in the center of everything, we'll easily be able to get buckets, get the planks. The workshop's going to be the next thing down there. We should be able to get this stuff filled out fairly easily. So let's go ahead, and we're going to put the raw meat in here too for now, just for weight reasons. Where did my cooked meat go? There it is. Okay, so that's going to help with that. Let's go ahead and put that trap up that we were talking about right here. That way it's close to where we deposit the materials instead of clear over there by the water. I think that's going to save us quite a bit of time. And I don't want that meat to rot, so we're going to go back and grab this. Nope, first we're going to drop the rocks and things in storage here, because I was not thinking and still have them on me. So let's go ahead and we'll put the fur in there for now. We're going to take the fur and sell it when we sell the flaxseed, because we realized that fur is not the most effective thing to sell. Okay, we still have a crap ton of knives on us. That's probably part of the weight problem. Let's make the rest of these real quick, because we're going to sell those as well when we're out and about. Unfortunately, it's going to be the next day before we go out for a sale run, just because, and actually we'll probably put the knives in here. I'm not going to put the seeds in here, because I don't want to have to split them back out again. But we are going to put the knives in here for now. We don't want to have to carry all that weight around, and everybody's going to bed here very shortly. So there's no real point in carrying all that weight around with us for something that we can't do at the moment. I just grabbed the 10 sticks back out because I noticed our hammer is just about broken. So we're going to go ahead and make another one with this log that I dropped on the ground, because that's also going to help with the weight issue. So I want to have some income of logs that we don't have to wait 2 years for them to grow back. But That's not a thing that we can do right this moment because everybody's going to bed, so there's no point in running to town just to recruit somebody. That's going to be a huge waste of time and efficiency. What am I... Oh, because this one doesn't have a front. Okay. So let's get the ramps lined up, and that'll be more or less accurate to how we want it. And I want that kitchen... So this is our first kitchen. We're probably going to wind up with 3 like we did last time. But I want it right next to the food storage for cook reasons. And then it's right here by this guy for when we make rye. So that's going to save us quite a bit of effort along the way. Let's go and get ourselves some stones. I did not check to see how many it is. I'm betting it's 10. Most of the buildings have a base of 10. So we still need to do 2 quests for neighbors, and then we need to do some successful flirting. I also need to be careful. I was thinking the other day, I believe we're capped. Yeah, we're already at building cap. That's going to be a problem. We're going to have to build the hunting shack sooner rather than later. We will probably put it on the other side of... Because we don't get an increase in our building cap until normally it's 5. Normally we couldn't have got as many buildings up as we did. It's only because we have the 200% going on for build cap. But we need to... it's going to make us build a hunting shack before the mission that allows us to increase our build capacity. Now the upside is we've got this over here that we can destroy, and that'll give us 1 back for the hunting shack. But we are going to have to do some quests on the next day, probably while we do our sale run. I like the idea of being able to craft. I like the idea of rarity gear. I feel like it adds a bit more depth to the game. Oh, excellent. I might let it ride, though. I've noticed lately with the AAA games, they're coming out to where they honestly should have been not open access, early access games. A lot of the AAA games lately have been super subpar. And honestly, even if they butcher their historical stuff, it is a game ultimately, so as long as it's fun, it's successful. Because to me, a game, it's like movies. I enjoyed Pacific Rim. The storyline was absolute hot garbage, but you don't watch a movie like Pacific Rim expecting a deep storyline. You go into Pacific Rim expecting giant robots blowing up giant monsters, and that's exactly what you got. So it made the movie fun. And a fun movie is an entertaining movie, and that's all the more you can ask of a movie. And games are much the same way. If the storyline is deep and fantastic, awesome. If the gameplay is awesome and the storyline shallow, that's fine too, as long as you had fun. It's all about the fun to me. Okay, so we're going to have to tear this guy down, and we're going to put up a hunting shack next to... And it's actually a good spot to put our hunting shack next to the food place, because that's where the meat's going to come from anyway. I was hoping to put it further down. I would love to put it here, but we're actually going to place the workshop here. So I think maybe... yeah, I guess it's not going to hurt anything to put it here. Well, we still need a tailor, too. Oh, man. Baghdad, that should be interesting. I don't know much about the history of the Middle East beyond, like, the biblical era, and even that's kind of suspect. Because it's not historical documents, it's more the religious text. But, that's definitely different and interesting. Now, we're only going to want 1 of these hunting shacks. This is going to be awkward. Well, you know what? We're not going to be regularly making things out of the hunting shack. We're going to be making arrows until we get the bronze arrows. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to put the hunting shack back here. So we're not going to use it anymore. It is. I'm happy to be back in the game. I very much enjoy Medieval Dynasty. It's definitely... It's a slower game, and I actually was kind of leery about streaming it because of how slow it is. I didn't think that there would be much of a call for it, and I'm actually rather pleasantly surprised with how many people that we've attracted and that are regularly interacting. I very much enjoy interacting with you guys. It definitely makes for a fun time. But I absolutely adore this game. I wasn't going to buy it. One of my friends bought it for me. I had wishlisted it, and it was just going to sit on my wishlist like most of my wishlist games do. Because I hadn't really heard much about it. And that, granted, this was back before 1.0 dropped. I mean, we're talking like 2021 here. But I had put it on my wish list, and one of my good friends saw it on my wish list and got it for me for my birthday. And I was like, well, I own it now, and it's a birthday present, and you need to use presents. I've always been that way. So I decided I was going to play it, and it turns out it is one of my favorite survival games ever, which is kind of surprising, but it is. It's a fantastic game. It really is. It's an unsung hero in the genre. That's for sure. And I don't think anybody ever really quits Medieval Dynasty. I think everybody takes breaks, because you can only play the same game for so long before you start to get bored. But we all come back to it. And it's just that kind of game where you kind of have to come back to it. Hey, Ken. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to explain the methods to my madness when I'm doing things. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but sometimes it does. But I'm glad that you're having a good time. That makes me happy. Luckily, I play on Xbox. It's on Game Pass for me, but I will buy it when they remove it. Fair enough. That's fair. It's a fantastic game. It really is. We're going to need another axe, aren't we? I don't know that I have enough rocks for another axe. Oh, this is not going to end well. These things are going to explode violently. Oh, that didn't go as bad as I thought. The two trees on each other, I figured we were going to have some physics issues. Like that day that the one popped up and hit me in the face, even though it was laying on the ground when we chopped it. I was expecting something along those lines. Just a mini explosion of physics. You were killed by a tree. Poor dude. I have yet to be killed by a tree, but I have honestly lost more hit points to trees than I have any animal. I've been killed by wolves, I've been killed by bandits, I've been killed by lots of stuff. I've yet to be killed by a tree, but that has been my highest hit point loss. It's just usually not enough to outright kill me. I think there have been 5 times on stream that I've been nailed in the face with a tree, and Lord knows how many off stream. Oh man, that's brutal. Did it double tap you, or just did you happen to be like solid under it when it fell on you? Yeah, the combat is crude, but combat wasn't really their general focus for the game. So, I mean, it's neat that it's in there, but yeah, it's not the smoothest that I've seen, and that's okay. It's still fun, and like I said earlier, that's all that matters in a game. You just have to be a bit more cautious than one might normally be when you're entering combat. Oh, population. In Season 2, it's actually currently 0. That's part of what we need to do to progress, is get some more people. And we will be doing that as soon as we go to town for, because we need to talk to Unagast, and we need to buy some cabbage seeds, and hopefully get that rolling before the end of the season, and maybe get a quest or 2 done, and flirt with somebody once. That's our current target goal. Bernadette year 2. I was kind of hoping that we could find Erica again. So our Season 1, our love interest was Erica, who was a hunter. And I would absolutely adore my wife to be a hunter, because we only have to worry about her being gone for a single season, or 2 years, but for a single child. So that's going to make sure that we at least have somebody in the hunting shed all the time. And when I was a teenager, I had a huge crush on a girl named Erica, and yeah, that was a thing. Granted, that's been, 20 years, and I'm sure she's married and has kids at this point, but I honestly don't know. I don't live in, we moved around so much when I was a kid that I didn't really have a lot of interaction with people after we left. Because I went to 13 different schools growing up. We moved once a year. Of course, I wouldn't mind finding that Kazimira for a love interest either. I thoroughly enjoy her name. I think that's a really pretty name. Any thoughts for name on a donkey? I don't think we can name the donkeys. I could be wrong, though. I named my last donkey Donkey, so, I mean, I'm not super creative when it comes to names. I've always been that way. I actually had a cat named Cat for a number of years when I was, when I had first moved out of home. I was 18, 19 when I got her. And, yeah, I named her Cat. And she was my little buddy. You can name all of the animals. You named one donkey Chicken. That's awesome. I didn't realize that we could name the animals. I am definitely going to have to do something with that in this stream. You know what? We could do votes on animal names as we get animals. That's a very real possibility. That could be fun. I don't know if I want to put them in here to get them to rot faster, or if I want to build one of the things to make them rot right away. Let's see. I believe it's under miscellaneous? Maybe containers? Not containers. Miscellaneous. There it is. 4 logs each. We know that we're going to need at least 2 of these, but I think that's a really good idea. I think we're going to put these into bins. Particularly with 2 trees. We were able, with 2 compost bins last time, to fully supply 2 fields just fine. So... And hopefully we're not going to actually need these for very long. We're going to try to get pigs up fairly quickly once our build cap is increased. So right now we're at 10, which we actually should not have been able to get away with as many buildings as we have up, because generally it's 5 until we progress through chapter 4, I believe. But it is the way that we set it up in the beginning. So that's definitely going to make us a bit of a smoother start. And we may or may not wind up using the entirety of our increased available building space. The main reason that I did it was so that we would have it available should we want to. And we might even go so far as to do 2 villages instead. Why are you not placing? Oh... Not enough resources. It did say 2 logs, right? It's 4 logs. I don't know why I thought it was 2. Use pig style full populated for manure. Oh, yeah, fully populated pig building is way too much for what we have planned. We were able to easily cover 3 fields year-round with manure. Well, 3 seasons worth. With just 2 pigs. So basically everything past the 2, every time they bred, because we got a male and a female, we would take the oldest of whatever gender the baby happened to be when it grew to adulthood. We would take the oldest and sell them and just keep it at 2. And we still wound up with a dearth of fertilizer. Mostly because you could harvest extra from the... Well, you could harvest extra from the building itself, but you could also harvest extra from, like, the donkey and the horse and the goats. So we wound up with so much poop, we didn't know what to do with it. We had almost 3,000 thrown in a corner in storage just because it was too heavy to keep in storage anymore. Yeah, we did pretty well in Season 1. I did some stupid stuff in the beginning because it had been 2 years since I'd played the game. So some of the stuff in the beginning, don't hold it against me. We were still relearning how to play everything, and... Our first encounter with bandits was absolutely hilarious because I didn't realize they'd been added to the game. So I heard some footsteps and turned around and there was a guy running up on me, and I didn't think anything of it because villagers don't attack you. And he stabbed me in the face. Yeah, Season 1 came to a bit more of an abrupt end than I was hoping. I was hoping to do some stuff with the tavern before we stopped it. But we wanted to go to Sengoku when it dropped. And we did. We went all the way through Sengoku, which is still a little shallow as far as the game goes. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did too. But it's one that's going to sit on a shelf for a little bit until they add more to it. Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. There's a setting in YouTube where you can make it, I have it set to, oh, okay, so in YouTube I have the delay set to, there's 4 options. There's really slow, which gives you the best performance. There's slow, which gives you better performance. There's fast, which is recommended for high engagement, which is what we're at. So there's about a 3-second delay between your message popping and or between what I'm doing and what you guys are seeing. There's about a 3-second delay. And then there's one that's an even less delay, but that one is my PC cannot handle being that little of a delay, so I have to keep that 3-second delay in there. There's also a setting in OBS, which I use for streaming, that you can set up a delay, but I have that one set to 0. So OBS is sending as it's happening, and then YouTube has a 3-second delay before it's updating it. So I have the second to last of 4 settings, which is high engagement. And I think when you go to edit your stream, or stream settings, it's under stream settings while you're streaming. Okay, perfect. So that should have taken care of our... Yep. So that took care of our requirement for flirting. So we need somebody for extraction. He's only got a 2. She's got a 2. Blanca is not hireable. I've found, honestly, that if I try to treat the NPCs like actual people, they do fairly well. Every now and then you get something that's bizarre, or a personality that's super weird. But generally speaking, the NPCs, if you treat them like you would a real normal person, they respond fairly well to that. The worst thing I've heard of it... Okay, so Diplomat is more Dynasty points. I think that's going to be the best way to go. We're only going to put 1 point in that to get down here further, because Barter is next. So we'll fill out Barter, and then we're going to go for Castellan, and then Creative Accounting. Just like we did last time. So we already know where we're going with our skills because of Season 1, so... Alright, there's 50 kilograms off our backs, and we can come pick that back up when we're done with what we're doing. Now we are going to need another axe. So we only need 7 logs. We only need 1 more stick. Alright. Now I don't know if Alwyn's first quest will count, or if it actually has to be... one of the pickup quests. I'm Alan. I don't recognize you. You're new here. I came from the south looking for a new place for myself where I can start a new life. Good luck to you then. Continue. As for me, I'm a farmer. My job is to cultivate fields. In fact, I do the same work every day, year by year. Doesn't it get boring over time? If I were you, I would die of monotony. That's fair. Of course it bores me. How long can you do the same thing in your life over and over again? But my family needs my help, and I'm doing my best to provide for them. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry. There's no need for you to apologize. I'm a little bit annoyed and short-tempered recently. There's a delicate matter that won't let me focus on my work. What's that, Alwyn? Maybe I could come to your aid. It may seem petty, but I'm really tired of my mother's conflict with with the lady. Her son Dalibor won't leave my little sister Olga alone. I understand it's just a game for him. After all, when I was his age, I played with Dobromira, his older sister. I pretended to be a knight equipped with a stick instead of a sword, but I always managed to protect her honor. Like every knight does, it's adorable in its own way. Anyway, let's get down to earth. I think he needs something to keep him busy and away from my sister. So that you could work with a clear mind again, huh? It would be nice indeed. I'll see what I can do. I remember this quest. This quest isn't super bad. And we already have a stick on us, so... we just gotta go talk to the kiddo and convince him that he needs to play knights instead. Oh, thank you. I read a lot. Like, a lot. I have a library of a little over 600 books, and I have read them all at least once, most of them more than once, and I tend to read about a novel every 3 days. It is my second favorite hobby after gaming. You look very strong for your age. Have you ever thought of becoming a knight? It's my dream. Are you a knight? No, but I know quite a lot about them. Did you know that many of them started learning to fight with a wooden sword already at your age? Where would I get such a sword, not a knight? Just so happens that I have one with me, and I can give it to you because you are clearly worthy. I'm honored. It may look inconspicuous, but it is certainly an excellent practice weapon for an aspiring knight like you. Give stick. It looks like a regular stick. To surprise your opponents. Surprise! And do you know what else knights do besides fighting battles? They ride horses? Well, that as well. But most of all, they protect ladies and children from danger and make sure that no harm is done to them. Really? Sounds like a lot of work. Yes, it's the most important principle of chivalry. My favorite genre is actually medieval fantasy. I do also enjoy modern fantasy and futuristic fantasy, but and quite a bit of sci-fi. There are occasional other things that I'll read, but mostly it's fantasy and sci-fi. Alright, thank you for the sword, not a knight. I'm going to go defend those in need. You're welcome. Excellent. Now we go back and talk to Alwyn again. What did I pick up that were super heavy again? That log. That log's got to go. You know what? We're going to need another... Because of course we don't have enough sticks. We're going to need another hoe anyway, and the hoe weighs significantly less than a log. Okay, maybe not significantly less, but it does weigh less than a log. We still need more. How many stones do we have on us? 10. So if we can get 50 sticks, we'll be able to cut our weight down possibly to manageable levels. So after we talk to Alwyn, who went back into town, we need to try to sell the rest of our flax seeds to other people, just to get the coinage up. Because there are some recipes that I still want us to buy. I'm rewatching the Foundation series, read the books when they were originally published. I don't know that I've read Foundation. Some of my favorite authors are Brandon Sanderson, Jim Butcher, Kevin Hearn. So I'm running around the village with a stick. You must have an amazing gift of persuasion. This young one does not listen to anyone. You gave me an idea with the stick in the story about a knight. By the way, I got this bread from Dobromir as an apology for a brother's behavior, but I think you earned it. Here, take it. Thank you. No problem. It's the most refined bread you've eaten. Our Castellan's wife makes them in our local tavern. Oh, do you happen to know the man in charge, Unagast, as well? No, not really. I spend most of the time in the field, and our paths only cross when it's time to pay taxes. Alright, I'll see you soon. That did not count. Honestly, the only thing that's really holding us back is subscribers. We have the watch hours already to become monetized. It's just subscribers that I'm lacking in. But like I said, it's not one of my major goals. I am waiting for the archery quest. Wasn't referring... Oh! You met in game. I'm sorry. I completely misread that situation. That's on me. Well, for money, I have a video out of the most efficient use of each resource. Oh, you partnered December 2022. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. Oh, we never talked to Unagast either. That's alright. We're going to miss out on the first season of Cabbage. I might need to purchase 100 rye while we're here. But yeah, I have a video out for the most efficient use of resources that we set up during Season 1. I think I enjoy watching new streamers more than established ones. That's fair. I feel like a lot of people start to coast after a while. I've noticed that with some of the streamers that I used to watch. If you watch their current stuff, a lot of them don't even play anymore, or if they do, it's very rarely. Mostly they do reaction stuff, and that's just not fun for me. Unfortunately, our farmhand already went to sleep. Oh, absolutely. But, yeah, I went through the math of everything. We used derivative math to determine what the most efficient use of each resource was. And that's why we're doing things like we're selling the fur. We're not even going to bother using fur. we're going to... So sticks for ladles is going to be the first main thing on top of stone knives. The second thing that we're going to shoot for is flax, obviously. The seeds sell really, really well and they're light. But on top of that, you can make, I think it's shirts. The simple tunics are the best use of flax up until you can unlock the cap. And at the point that you get the cap, it becomes the best use of flax. Once you get sheep and have access to wool, your best use of flax is actually to make the hats instead. They are the most efficient cost-wise. And then I have a whole list written out. I hadn't really thought about it over much just yet. We know what the early stuff is, so we've only really been focusing on that at the moment. Yep. But I noticed when I was trying to research what the most efficient use, or what the best way to make money was, it seems like there's no two people on the damned internet that agree. So I went ahead with effort research. Yes. Not so much the effort. We were going purely off of a worth of a resource. How many coins per that resource can you expect for return? It didn't take into account crafting time. It also, I did take into account weight to an extent. I made mention of weights, but at the time I had the market stalls, so it was not part of my equation. And I did put in the caveat that the most efficient thing to craft to sell is something that you already have the ingredients for. Yeah, to an extent. But it wasn't part of our derivative math equation. We were just going hard numbers. That's something that's going to be very difficult to actually math out because of the way that the skill levels work. How much you get out of each person is so highly variable that it's not something that you can put out there that's going to work for everyone. It's if you figure their labor into it other than just actual time taken, rather than just their labor percentages, then level is going to matter. And at that point, you would have to do a breakdown for every one of the 10 levels. And actually, for places that have more than one person, you would wind up doing 40 or 50 different breakdowns, possibly more, based on combinations of level of people in the platform. Yep, didn't quite make it home. Almost. Well, poop. So that's going to kind of suck because that means that we don't have any cabbage for food for this season, but that's okay. We are going to start out... Where's our nearest quest? We've got one in Denica. We do have one in Gastovia. So we might head back to Gastovia and see if we can find a producer to put into the farm or the log area. I was really hoping to get those dropped off before season end. Well, that tends to be the way of it, though. In all honesty, the people that are the first to do something are almost never the best at it, because they designed it, so they're the ones that found all the kinks. Generally speaking, the people that follow up do a better job, and it is general. There are special occasions that it's not true. But most of the time, when you have somebody that develops something truly unique as far as gaming goes, a lot of the follow-ups are actually better than the original. But the thing to remember is, if you're the best at something, you can always be replaced. If you were the first, you can never be replaced. The only real complaints that I have about Medieval Dynasty are, like, the combat system isn't as smooth as I would like, but they didn't design it around combat, so it's understandable. But I would be willing to bet that anybody that makes a decent copy that's not just after a cash grab but actually takes the time to make a decent similar game will probably have better combat, because I'm not the only one that thinks that way. I also don't like that we are gated in how many buildings we can build from the get-go. I feel like that's kind of frustrating. How many buildings total, I understand for save reasons, but I feel like that the fact that you're stuck at 5, or in our case 10, because we did the 200% building, until you progress the first couple of chapters, that's an arbitrary gatekeeping tactic, and I'm not particularly fond of that, but it is what it is. The other problem that I have with that is they don't tell you about the building cap in anything that pops up until after you've hit it. So, like, most people that I know, when they play their first game of this, they come up against the building cap before they realize that they have to build the hunting shack for the chapter quests, or even do the chapter quests at all. I know I did. On my very, very first playthrough of the game, I was stuck and had to destroy some of my hard-fought buildings because we didn't know as much about the game back then. I didn't... Well, yeah, it was my first playthrough. I didn't know anything about it. So trying to get resources was quite a bit more difficult than it is for me now. And when I first came up against that hard cap, I was super upset. Yes, multiplayer and the new map are going to be absolute game changers. I'm super stoked for the new map to explore things that nobody else has, that kind of stuff. Okay, Bernadette's a good farmer. We might take her on in the village. She is definitely not going to be our wife, because I don't like her name. It's wonderful. But you come at a poor time. My duties as Castellan await me. Of course, I understand. Is everything alright? Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. There's been a murder. Oh my, I thought things like that didn't happen around here too often. Because they don't. I'm just about to go to the crime scene and question the witnesses, and I honestly don't know what to expect. I'm sure you'll take good care of the matter. Time will tell. Yes, it will. Jokes aside, that's really a serious matter. I won't be able to share more stories with you at the moment, but I believe there is someone you should meet. His name is Sambor. He was one of us, the pack, I mean. Are you serious? And he lives here in the valley? That's right. All of them do, actually. Here, I've marked his house on your map. You should pay him a visit. Great, we'll go there right away. That, sir, was a lie. We are not going there for quite a while. But beware, calling Sambor friendly is like calling being stung by a bee right in the tip of your manhood pleasant. Fantastic. That actually describes him rather adequately. Oh, I'm sure you're exaggerating. He was part of the reminders, after all. Don't say I didn't warn you. I'll be on my way, then. Alright. We're not actually going to pursue that quest right now. You have... how much for taxes? My taxes aren't going to be that bad. Yeah, it's only going to be... it's $98, or 98 coins right now. It's not going to be super bad. And we'll have enough for it when it rolls around, because we're going to wind up selling a bunch of rye. Because we don't have the means to make the kitchen tier 2 yet, or to get the recipe for making the flatbread that I would like to sell. So we're just going to make money straight off the rye direct. Okay. So we should be good come winter. And with our shift for
Have a good day.
increased temperature tolerance, we should be actually in pretty good shape for that as well. Where'd you go?
Hey, old friend. Best goods in the valley.
So let's sell her these feathers that I noticed we forgot to sell. And any fur that we have? We don't have any fur. Okay. Okay. And we can't sell her the Racemere clothing, so that is what it is.
See you soon.
But if we get one more point into our tolerances for temperature... You die often from dehydration or hunger. I don't terrifically often. Most of the time that I've died from things like that were because I was not paying attention during long crafts, which thankfully this time around we are not doing the crafting timing, so that's definitely not going to be as big of an issue. The random assortment. Okay, now it's going to make us grub up the field. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's a good thing that we built the new field, because we still need to do all of that stuff for the mission. Now, what is the reward for this? Is this going to give us another build increase? Yes. So it's going to boost us to 20, which is what we're currently at, so I'm assuming it's going to let us have 40. Which will put us almost to what the original cap is. That's going to be really, really awesome. So let's do that. Let's put our stone hose back for now. And we're going to grab all of these stones and sticks for a moment. And we're going to go ahead and craft as many knives as we can to sell up north so that we can get somebody to start getting us logs, because that is going to be a slog with this area. So let's go ahead and put our sticks back. Now, we do have the recipe for stone arrows. That was stupid. I just used all of our sticks, or all of our stones for knives, which is great for money, but we need rocks for arrows still, and that was not probably my most intelligent move there. But we should have a bunch of them respawned because the season's changed. But yeah, I think that's where we'll start out next time, because it is about that time, guys. So we're probably going to close down the stream here. We'll start out next time by going up north to Rolnica and Tukti and them, and try to get somebody to run the log station for us. I wouldn't mind putting a couple of axes into storage for them so we can assign them remotely and not have to be back here to do it. But yeah, so if you learned anything useful or if you had a good time tonight, please don't be afraid to drop a like. If you're feeling friendly, maybe go ahead and subscribe. But either way, have a fantastic rest of your guys' night, and thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And we will see you guys next time. Have a good rest of your night.